Hey guys, and welcome to my channel Ratty Expounds. In case you're new here, my name is Ratik Datta and I recently did I wouldn't say it's recent, it's almost been a year since I graduated. So it's been almost a year since I graduated from Purdue University in the US, having done a master's in marketing. I'm back in India now. I'm currently working at the Times Group as a project associate as part of the Global Sustainability Alliance, and this channel is essentially me expounding on my personal, academic and professional experiences. Today I will specifically, as the title of the video suggests, be talking about some of the common mistakes, everyday mistakes that I have made over the course of my life and that I continue making even today, and I hope that this video can provide some valuable insight and some food for thought as well. And for those of you who are kind of worrying that this is sort of self-depreciatory commentary on my life, this isn't. I am a very secure person. I'm someone who has a lot of security in terms of how he goes about living his life, and if anything, the fact that I'm able to make this video is in itself, I feel personally, proof of the kind of security that I hold about myself as a person, because the only reason I'm able to talk about some of my common mistakes is because I'm secure enough about my being that these mistakes do not define my individuality. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Also, before we dive in, bear with me a minute. I will be dividing this video into two parts because, I feel like I want to keep the video length to a certain point, and there are a lot of talking points here for this topic, so I thought it was better to just bifurcate them into two videos. Again, this topic is something which is very extensive. We do not need to limit it just to two parts. As and when I am able to think of more mistakes, I will be making further videos on these topics as well. Now, without further ado, let's dive right in. So the first mistake that I have made, and actually I'm very culpable of making even today, is the usage of filler words. So for the uninitiated, filler words are essentially words which are not really necessary as part of a sentence. So if you remove them as part of the sentence, they're not going to in any way make the sentence any less effective. If anything, they might just make it more effective. So words like that is again something which I am very prone to be using in my everyday course of language. In fact, if you watch some of my videos, I've actually made a blooper video for one of my videos where I talk about the number of times I've actually said in the video. And if you've also seen my video with Naman Pandey on his YouTube channel Get Set To, I've rewatched my video recently and I realized that I used the word quite a few times, and I think it kind of takes away from the effectiveness of my communication. So is one of them. I think using the word I think excessively is another. So I think you get my point, and don't get me wrong here, everyone uses filler words. So if you used filler words here and there, do not in any way think that you are not an effective speaker. Even the best speakers out there use filler words from time to time. So I'm not talking about eliminating the usage of filler words, I'm talking about minimizing the usage. It's honestly not very difficult to be minimizing the usage of filler words. This is something I learned during my time at Purdue in my very first semester itself, where I had a communications class, and our Professor Doug, he is brilliant. In case you are going to Purdue or are at Purdue, you should definitely get in touch with him. He was a very simple trick to control the urgency or the tendency to be using filler words. It's a very simple trick which I will be elucidating right now. It basically talks about being more aware about what you're saying and being aware about your presence. So when you're speaking, there's no harm in taking a millisecond, a fraction of a second, or even a couple of seconds to just stand back and pause. Now, pausing is, some people hesitate to pause simply because they feel like pausing might make their communication ineffective. But in all honesty, in fact, pausing does not make your communication any less effective. Pausing for a second or two and recollecting your thoughts before you say your next word or your next sentence is actually going to make a sentence a lot more effective, simply because you will not be using filler words. Filler words are a lot more distracting than someone taking a 1 second pause. In fact, in most circumstances, I personally believe that people are not even going to figure out that you've actually taken a pause. So the next time you feel like you're using filler words too often, whether it's speaking in public or in front of a camera or just in your everyday conversation, take a couple of seconds, pause, and then get back to your conversation, and you will see a major difference. This is something I'm consciously doing for this video as well. It's something I'm trying to consciously incorporate in my everyday life, because like I said, I do have the tendency of using filler words quite a bit. So I am trying to work on that, and I think that this is a very simple trick to get everyone going in this direction. In case you are someone who feels like they use filler words too often, it's a very simple trick to get you going. The second tip that I want to talk about is how much I open my mouth while talking. Now again, this is something my mom has been telling me for quite a bit. I would consider myself a half decent speaker, and she considers me, of course she's my mother, she thinks the world of me, so she thinks I'm a great speaker. But if there is some scope for improvement, she talks about the possibility of me widening my mouth a bit while I'm talking. And this is something which was brought to my attention recently when I joined my singing class, because in singing, if you truly want to sound melodious, it's very critical for you to be able to open your mouth entirely when you're singing, especially when you're doing your riyaz or when you're singing songs. It's critical for you to be able to open your mouth widely. And this is something that, again, over the course of my singing class, I'm consciously trying to incorporate to get my singing better. But this is not just limited to singing. Even in your everyday communication, if you're able to inculcate the habit of actually opening your mouth, of widening your mouth while speaking, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in terms of the delivery of your speech, and it also makes a huge difference in terms of the visual appeal of your speaking ability as well. So again, this is something I am very prone to not doing, that is widening my mouth while speaking. But again, this is something I'm consciously doing now. I've been trying to do it for this video, and I don't know how successful I've been, but when I am doing my riyaz, I do tend to practice it in front of a mirror as per the instructions of my guru, who is my teacher. I do personally think that it's made a considerable difference in my singing, and I don't want to just limit it to my singing. I want to incorporate it to my everyday speech, because it just makes your speaking style a lot better to have you completely use the tool of widening your mouth. And it's not rocket science. It's, again, as having said that, while it's not rocket science, it's also not easy, especially if you've grown up speaking a certain way. Your body, your mouth, your brain, it's all hardwired into speaking a certain way, so you consciously have to make an effort to change the way you speak, and that's not easy. But good things come to people who try, in my personal opinion, my humble opinion. And this is again not too tall of a task to really ask for. You have to make a conscious effort to do it, but it's not rocket science, like I said. Third point that I'm going to be talking about is, well, this one is actually it's limited to people who wear glasses. And again, something my mom has been telling me my entire childhood. And as someone who wears glasses, I'm currently not wearing them while I'm making the video, simply because you can see the ring light being reflected on my glasses. But the idea, it's pretty critical to actually keep your glasses clean. Most of the time, until I actually made this conscious decision to be more aware about it, my glasses used to be pretty foggy, and notwithstanding the fact that it distorts your vision, it's also not very visually appealing. And when I say visually appealing, I don't mean it just on a personal level, but even on a professional level. When you're going for an interview or when you're going for a meeting, these sort of things do make a difference. I kind of wish that they didn't. I believe that interviews and meetings should personally be about the quality of what the person is saying rather than their appearance. But there's a Hindi saying which says that jo dikhta hai wo hi bikta hai, which means that what you can see is what sells. I personally don't agree with the notion of the slogan. This is how the world works, unfortunately. As of now, maybe things will change in the future. But again, even on a personal level, you look a lot more polished if your glasses are clean. So again, it's not rocket science. You get a cleaning liquid for your glasses. You get cloth with it as well. It takes a few seconds, but it makes a huge difference in terms of how your appearance is. And again, me being culpable of not doing this, I have incorporated this in my everyday life as far as possible, and I think it's made a huge difference. It does in terms of my vision, and even in terms of my appearance. I think having clean glasses, it's a very small detail, but I think for those who notice these sort of things, it can make a huge difference. So that's about it, guys. That's part one of some of the everyday mistakes that I make in my life. And again, I hope that this video has provided some value to you. If you can relate to some of the mistakes I've made, and if you wish to incorporate some of the changes that I have recommended, I think I would say that the purpose of this video has been served. And yeah, that's about it. This is part one. I will be releasing part two next week, and I shall see you very, very, very soon, guys. Until next time.